In this video, we're going to talk about the positive aspects of full-time RV living. I think this first one's pretty obvious, but part of full-time RV life is that you can live anywhere you want for as long as you want. And so that's been a big driver for us in doing this. And our first example was after we picked it up and got loaded, we headed down for the winter to Arizona. We have some videos on that you can catch. And we had a great time out in the sun in the 60 and 70 degree highs every day, all winter long, versus Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas, where we've had our lives prior to this, where winter is cold. And it was just super nice to be able to do that. We have a long list of places we want to go. Some places we just need a few days. Some places are a week or 2 weeks. Some places are going to be 1 to 3 months. So, think about the national parks. We're thinking about next summer, maybe a month or more at Glacier National Park on our way up to the Pacific Northwest. TBD on what we actually do with that, but we just start thinking now about what we might do a few months from now or in those seasons further in advance like that. So that's a big one, is just the ability to go live somewhere, anywhere you want, for as long or as short as you want. The next one is sort of related to the first one, and it's what we call see people in places. So in addition to being able to move and stay somewhere, it's just the idea of seeing places. So places, if we lived in a house, we'd just have to take a vacation every year and go see a place, versus spending the whole year really traveling around and seeing all the amazing places there are to see in this great country. So people and places is our goal. So when we are mapping out our trip and we see that along our route or at the destination there are people we know, we will try to make plans to connect with them. The sad thing really is that you can't always catch everybody, and we've made that mistake already. So we're going to disappoint people, and we apologize in advance for that. Sometimes we're sort of in the area, sometimes it's just so busy, or we don't have any actual time to connect like that, or schedules just don't sync up or whatever. So seeing people in places is a big deal for us. It's a major goal. And so we'll typically set a destination based on places and try to find people along the way. Sometimes we will find destinations based on people at that end, and that's part of our traveling plans for this life for us. Another one also related to people on this is that we want to invite people in our lives to come join us sometime. So especially when we're someplace super cool and going to be there a while, we will extend an invitation to friends and family who might want to come spend a long weekend or a week with us. Remembering, of course, that we work full time, so most of our weekdays are going to be spent working 8 to 5 Central Time, and then we'll have evenings to sightsee and stuff like that, or weekends to really get out and do things. So we think it'll be super fun. We've had this happen once in the first year. We had 2 of our daughters come and join us and stay a couple nights with us when we were in Arkansas, and it was really super fun to have them come join us like that. So really the plan long term is more invitations for people and places, especially as we get better at this and know what we're doing, and especially when we get to a destination that really is just super awesome, versus some of the places we stay. We're picking a place based on cost of the campground and then the ability to drive around and see stuff in that area. When we stay at a super nice destination type place, then for sure we'll be looking to get people to join us there. This is another one I just thought of recently, and it's the fact that if you have pets, most people have pets it seems. We have a kitty. Her name is Baby. She's 16 years old now. She gets around good and kind of looks like a kitten still despite her old age. But Baby used to be sad when we left for a trip somewhere. So if we were gone a week or two, Baby really missed us. So now anywhere we go, we're home every night and she's there. And so she has less time with her people away from us, away from her. So we've only, in a year now, we've only had 2 times that we took a trip and left the motorhome behind and stayed somewhere else. On one of those times, she was staying with one of our daughters, so that one didn't really count in terms of losing her people for the duration. On the second one, it was 1 night or 2 nights. It was just 1 night, a couple of long days when we went and helped our kids move from Denver to Omaha. And that was her first time in a year, really, that we weren't home every night. So kind of an upside for your pets is that you're taking them everywhere you go. And this sort of fits in with the live anywhere for a while or seeing people in places. But a caveat to point out is, like, when we were in Arizona and headed back to Omaha for the spring for a month or two, we plotted the trip in RV Trip Wizard, which we highly recommend, and we looked at the route that it came up with from Quartzsite, Arizona to Omaha, and we could see that the perfect driving distance after day one landed us pretty near Meteor Crater. So we actually stayed at a campground there and spent a week seeing not just Meteor Crater, but in that area is Painted Desert and the Petrified National Forest. So seeing things along the way, so if you can plan your route and you have the time, then not just the places you went, but everything in between becomes a destination as well, potentially. On that same trip, we stopped in Albuquerque and saw sites in Albuquerque and Santa Fe, spent a week there, and we stopped in Guyman, Oklahoma, spent 2 weeks there just because family and friends, and we had more people to see. And every night there was with seeing people and family that in the area that we have known for a long, long time. And then Wichita for 2 weeks, same thing, lots of family, friends there, and just connecting practically every night with people. So things along the way, if time permits, especially on a long drive halfway across the country, is another cool benefit to this lifestyle. Something we enjoy a lot is taking walks where we're staying. So each RV park, there's, roads and stuff, and so we will walk once or twice a day if we can and just get some exercise in. But we're people that enjoy seeing new and different RVs and different ways that people live in these things. So almost every day there's something new in the park, and we walk up and down the roads and we look at it, and maybe we do a web search and see, what's that one like or whatever. And it's just really fun if you're interested in the other RVs around you, to be able to see change of scenery all the time, right? Because a lot of people are one-nighters. So we see everything from just recently right behind me. They allow some people to tent camp right behind me back there in the grass. And a guy rolled in with a pickup truck with a topper on it. And there's a topper I'd never seen before. It looked like it was homemade almost, but the top half of the topper pushed up and had like a cloth material, tent material, that allowed him to push that up, and it stood, he's probably standing height inside of there. But anyway, you see everything from a homemade truck to we've seen a school bus, a schoolie as they call it, that somebody modified into an RV. And then we've seen $3 and $4 million super high-end Class A motor coaches that people have rolled in and stayed a night or two or a week. Actually, at the place we're at now at Pine Grove in Greenwood, Nebraska. So we see a total mix, everything in between tents and that homemade pickup and homemade school buses and all the models of fifth wheels and bumper pulls and Super Cs and Class A's from, tent to $4 million. So everything in between. So that's really fun for us. It's a constant change up of our sites in the area when we take a walk. Another benefit to this, for some people, this is not your lifestyle. I get it. You want your house, you want your stuff. A huge value to us was getting rid of stuff. There's a lot of science behind that. I've read plenty of articles how getting rid of the clutter in your life really frees the brain. It's a mental benefit, a mental health benefit to get rid of stuff. And we certainly felt that as we were downsizing the house and finding places for all of our things, whether it was the trash or the recycle or selling it or giving it away, depending on what it was. But less stuff is a benefit in our mind, and so I'm sharing that as a benefit because I believe there's a lot of good evidence that less stuff in our lives is a value. And if you saw our list of negatives for full-time RV living, you'll remember that I get a little sad sometimes about the fact that you meet some really nice people and then they're going to be gone or you're going to be gone. So the flip side of that is there's always new people to meet. So there's always turnover, whether you're coming and going or they're coming and going, especially if you're in a busy park or a busy time of year where people are traveling a lot. You get a lot of opportunity to meet new people. So if you like to talk to people and just get their story and understand who they are and where they're from and how long they've been retired or traveling, all that stuff, there's standard questions that come top of mind right away. It's really, really fun for me to meet new people and get to know their story and share a little bit of our story if they're interested. and it's never ending, and that's a huge plus for me. It's a big benefit. So in our first year, we have not had any bad neighbors, honestly. We have had nothing but good. We haven't had any barking dog problems or people stomping through your campground. There's all kinds of negatives that people share, but another positive here is if you ended up with a really bad situation, you're not stuck. You know, you might be out some money, but you can move whenever you want. So if you end up with really, really bad neighbors, first you could go to the office and ask for a different campsite, or potentially work with your new neighbors that are being problematic, and see if they can turn their music down or keep the dog quiet or whatever the problem is that's coming up. So potentially work with them and figure it out and be nice about it, or work with the campground and maybe move in the campground. But worst case, unlike your house, if you get a bad neighbor at the house, you don't pick up and move just because somebody crummy moved in next to you. But in this life, you have a much better chance of being able to get away from just a bad situation quickly and easily with minimal cost and maybe no cost at all. Another one, and this is really big for me, is I don't really care for yard work. I don't like mowing. I don't like raking leaves. I don't like shoveling snow, even with a nice cool snowblower. That was kind of fun. But I didn't like to do it on a year that snowed a lot. Once or twice the fun was over. If it was perfect temperature out, nice and cool, maybe the cathartic elements of yard work, but mostly it's dirty. It's not. I hate it. It's not fun for me. Some people enjoy their yard work. They're going to miss it. Not me. That's a benefit. And I know you could get the same thing with apartment or condo life, but full-time RV living, another positive is I don't have any yard work to do anymore, and that's a huge win for me. Another positive is if you don't own any property, you get to choose the state that you domicile in. So you do your research, you figure out what the tax advantages are, car registration, vehicle registration, all that stuff. The three most common are Florida, Texas, South Dakota, and then people pick other states or whatever. But you can set up a mail service where you have a physical address that is legal for your driver's license, and they receive your mail. Some people just use the address of a family member, but I think you lose some value there. So a real positive here is you can choose the most advantaged for you state to be a resident of, get your driver's license, and be taxed accordingly and pay vehicle registrations according to that state. So it's a plus to be able to choose that, especially if you're in a high tax area now. You can benefit yourself by choosing a lower tax area across the board, across all those tax categories. And the last one for my list is going to be, it can be a lower cost of living. There are stories across the board between people spending more, spending less. There's train wrecks and disasters for people that get into this on the low end and don't have the budget to repair problems that come along, because problems are going to come along. And we have some finance videos that talk about this, but in truth, we're spending well under half, maybe 35 or 40% of what we spent having a house. And we had a larger house because my mom lived with us for about 10 years, and we had 3 kids and all that stuff. And we were in a fairly high property tax area. Not a super high cost of living, but the taxes were high, so that made the cost of the house more expensive related to that. So it's just like anything else, though. A house or an RV, you can live on as little or as much as you choose to, right? So there's people that live less than $1,000 a month, full-time in their RV, mostly boondocking. And there's people that spend $15,000 a month because they've got lots of money. They like to eat out and go to big entertainment and stay in the high-end resorts. So you can spend as little or as much as you want. In our case, we managed to come into this debt-free, and we control how much rent we're going to pay. We could stay somewhere that's $1,500 a month or somewhere that's $400 a month. And that's not true everywhere that you can find those choices. But for us, we've been able to keep all the costs related to doing this well under half of what we had in a house. So that allows us to continue doing this on jobs that are remote and have a great time. It doesn't feel like vacation mode all the time because we do work and we're not retired, but just the ability to lower your costs in some situations is a reality, and I think a very positive element of full-time RV life. All right, that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you get any value at all or entertainment value even, then please like and subscribe. We're trying to grow this channel a bit now. It's been fun. I super duper love making these, and one of these days we will get Rhoda in more videos. I think we're going to sit down and do a Q&A maybe at our 1 year mark coming up in late October, and go through the most common questions that we have. So please like and subscribe and be notified of new videos. Thanks for watching.